What's up? We're back. Had a little bit of a hiatus for holidays, and RideMSTA is back for season 2. Ooh. Basically, we get to annoy everybody with our shenanigans online. So watch, be happy, be merry, or don't. You will. You will. I got with me today RJ. Say hi, RJ.
Hi, everyone from snowy Pennsylvania.
Just send some of the warm this way. Be nice. Little not negative would be cool. We also have a little bit of a special guest today. We got John Panic. He's our Illinois state director from the Chicagoland area. Say hi, John.
How you doing, everybody? Actually, I'm not in Chicago tonight, but I am the Chicago rep. I'm actually going probably an hour and a half, 2 hours away from you. Just due east, I think. We're right along Route 8 and Pembine.
Oh, you went north.
Yeah.
Yeah.
North of Green Bay, about 2 hours to Green Bay right now.
Yeah, you went where it's colder.
Colder, yes.
If y'all can't tell, I'm getting a little bit of cabin fever with this cold stuff, but it's like cold, warm, cold, warm, cold, warm.
Yeah, no kidding.
I
Can't just.
It can't make up its mind. But it's almost over, right? We got spring coming.
Yeah, middle of January already, so we're moving along. A couple more weeks, and the groundhog's going to be telling us if we got 6 more weeks or not.
Not if I shoot him. Then we don't get 6 more weeks ever. Nope. I have bikes in that garage. It's there every time I walk out there. Right. I'm pretty sure my GS looked at me the other day and said, "Why have you forsaken me, my child?" And then after I came to from the shock of my motorcycle talking to me and realized, no, I'm not actually on drugs. It's just lack of sleep. I said, I'm sorry. So we are actually coming into our 2025 season, and I don't know if anybody else has been watching, but the EC has been busy, specifically Norm and the guys that handle the website and all of the state areas, because they have put out our new events calendar for 2025. So we're kicking off in April, and we go nuts. That said, what are you guys going to try to hit this year?
Definitely Star this year because it's in Pennsylvania, and we'll see about the Canaan Valley. We typically try to hit that every year.
Sweet. How about you, John?
I'm going to try to do, of course, Twistar, now that it's in its 3rd iteration. That one's on my to-do list. I usually I'll try to do the fly-by-week as well with Norm. The Indiana Corridon River Road ride. Try to do that one. And there's a couple others, maybe something out in the Arkansas, Missouri area, maybe with something with Jerry. I'm going to try to do that. Yeah, and then Star, that one's in October, so a little bit of ways, but that one's also on the maybe possible to-do list.
Nice.
It's about 4 or 5 events.
Yeah, we had a little bit of a hitch in our year plans this year because they opened up a 3rd rider coach prep class, and my wife is actually going to be doing rider coach prep this year. So
nice.
She gets to come teach with me, but I got to get her up and do some more shadowing with her, and then of course once she's done with it, she's going to come teach on the range with me. So I got to make sure I got to take a couple of classes afterwards.
There you go.
But that should, and we got some word yesterday during our professional development workshop that they're bringing back the circuit rider course, at least for the rider coaches, and they're going to be doing that this fall. So I'm going to have to sneak into that and go have a little bit of fun. So once we got the dates settled, I mean, obviously I'll be at Twister. I have to be there. But I do want to at least try to get to one of Jerry's events down in Arkansas, and I'm trying for the River City ride. Trying.
How far of a ride down to Arkansas is that for you?
7-ish hours.
It's probably going to be for that. I'm about 7 hours to that area from Chicago. So you're probably going to be closer to maybe 10 or 11.
For Ozark Escape or for...
Yeah, for like the Ozark, yeah.
Hold on, I can tell you. I actually had it saved on my maps because I was curious too. Let's see. Eureka. Hey, I can't spell. It is... oh yeah, about 11 hours. I mean, to be truthfully honest, I was going to cheat and trailer anyway, but that's just because I can cannonball it in the truck.
I just picked up a camper van myself, and I'm actually looking for a smaller CC sized, dual sport type bike that I can kind of stick into the back and just kind of have it with me whenever, So they just not even unloaded until I get to where I'm going, and once I'm done, load it back up and on to the next adventure.
Oh, that'll be a great idea. That's one of the things I want to do is pick up a small dual sport. And I've been talking with, there's a guy who does the Griffin Moto Wear. He's one of their regional reps.
Steve Eliason.
Yeah, really good guy. He also does a bunch with the Snow River Lodge up in the UP.
You're right.
And we're kind of working to try to get something going up there too. And I know they got a lot of good adventure bike and dual sport territory up there.
Oh, yeah. And Steve, if you haven't met him yet, he is a character. He drives a Goldwing around with a couple of wicker basket saddlebags that are like Harbor Freight lashing straps, the orange ones that you can buy for a couple of bucks, one on each side. So yeah, like I said, he's a character.
He is, but he is so much fun to hang around with.
Is that the Goldwing Longenberger version?
Well, I mean, if we can get him some milk crates, that's the KLR,
I don't know. That's
the KLR.
That's too classy, Steve.
If y'all are coming to Twister, you're actually going to get a chance to meet Steve. He's going to be setting up the Griffin Moto booth there. Just a character. He is a fun character.
Yeah.
He's a lot of fun. So, yeah, that's my plans for the year. A whole bunch of MSFing again, and trying to sneak to a couple of rallies that aren't Twister. So, we'll see how that goes. That said, since we're on this topic, today we're going to talk about Moto-Resolutions. I am not normally a New Year's resolution person, hence the reason I am still a potato. But, I was, alone in my truck, as usual, all day long, driving around. And I had a thought. It's like, I really want to do some different things with bikes this year. And I made some resolutions for my motorcycles. And I thought, you know what? Let's find out what the rest of the cast thinks about that. What do we have for Moto-Resolutions this year? RJ, throw something out there. What's your first Moto-Resolution?
So my first one that I had, and it kind of turned into more than just a moto one. I want to be able to do back-to-back track days, and actually physically be able to do it. Typically, if I go do a track day, by the end of maybe the second to last session, I'm barely getting off the bike because I'm dead. So I decided that I was going to get myself in better shape this year for it. And like you said, Rob, I typically don't do resolutions either. What I have to do to get myself on track for something is I have to set a goal and have something like kind of extreme that I have to work towards. And for me, it was doing a short triathlon in August. So the two thing, I have that to work towards, and it's getting me in a lot better shape to be able to ride the bike more at the same time. And I mean, it's the same thing for riding on dirt. If I do some dirt riding, I'm usually was dead after an hour of doing. And I don't know what the terrain's like out there where you're at. Here, everything's rocks. So it's there's no sand. It's either rocks, more rocks, and maybe some coal silt if you're lucky.
I'm gonna come ride by you.
So any place where there's a hill, it starts to, the dirt just washes away and it turns into rock. So I mean, it might be easy the first couple of times, and after the rainy season, it's hard enduro.
Yep, I'm going to ride by you.
Yeah. So that's my big one for the year.
How about you, John? What's your first one?
I'm going to try to keep it a little bit basic, but my goal, my resolution, is every year is to ride more than I did the previous year, and that's not too hard to do. From last year, because I didn't ride a whole lot last year. Started a new job, and that took a little bit of time away from riding, and then I usually try to commute back and forth to work, and kind of through rush hour traffic, it's not very pleasant. So didn't really do that a whole lot either. So this year I'm going to be doing hopefully a little bit more again with some of the MSTA rallies, get a little bit more of that. Then also I was the area rep for a couple of years, stepped away from it again because of the new job. So kind of got reapproached about re-entering that position. So I accepted it again. So I'm going to try to promote the club a little bit more this year too. Going to try to partner up with a couple of dealerships and maybe do like a little meet and greet luncheon or something like that at the dealership, and do like a presentation on who and what is the MSTA, and did that a couple of times last year, and then said hope to do that a little bit more this year. We've got our we typically would have our like winter season meet and greet after the motorcycle show, the International Motorcycle Show. However, that stopped a couple of years ago, so we haven't had anything formally, but we have picked a date, so that'll be Saturday, February 15th. Probably again like a luncheon. I'm just looking for the venue right now, so as soon as that is in place, we'll be putting out an announcement. So hopefully those of you in the northern half of Illinois, northern half of Indiana, Wisconsin, southern Wisconsin, Michigan, a little bit of that, those 4 geographical areas, if you want to come and visit us, we'll be there.
Sweet.
And yourself?
I'm going to try to make it down for that, but yeah, I've got to get out of the area first, which is my number one motor resolution for the year. I am getting that big-ass BMW in my garage out of the state of Wisconsin. I have just not had any time the last couple of years, especially with us being short rider coaches. And then last year it was trying to work on the stuff for Twister and do the rider coach thing at the same time. And it kept getting away from me. So this year I'm taking fewer classes. I'm going
I feel you.
I'm going to spend more time riding my motorcycle, and I want to cross state lines. And I don't mean like going to the UP. I can do that on a whim. I'm 2 hours from there. I want to get to a state that I haven't been to in a while. So that's why I'm trying to get over to Arkansas and bother Jerry. So that's my number one. That's to get the bloody thing out of the state. All right, what else you got, RJ?
Do more dirt riding. I'm trying to get out more on the dirt. My younger brother just bought a KTM 350 EXCW, and my nephews started really riding a lot more too. So spend some time with my family in the dirt, and get some more dirt riding in. We're lucky here. We have a couple decent areas to go and a couple larger parks, and we're soon, I guess, not this year, but maybe next year, going to have actually a state park dedicated for off-road vehicles.
Oh, nice.
They're starting to really recognize the tourism aspect of it, especially with like they're trying to turn our area into a mini Hatfield and McCoy's, I think, at some point.
Just tell them to be really cautious about the UTVs, because usually you start letting those guys out there and they destroy it.
Well, and our problem is they are not. There is no way to get a UTV legal on the road here.
Oh, good. Then you're safe.
Yeah, so that's now a couple towns have introduced that they're allowing ATVs, UTVs, dirt bikes that are not street plated on local streets. So they'll run a tie-in trail into the town that they could go in, eat, go shop a little bit, and then run back out.
Okay.
But it's all under 35-mile-an-hour roads, not state roads.
We had a big issue up here where, like, you have these the ATV areas that we had set up.
Mm-hmm.
They started letting UTVs in them. They've now just become UTV intensive areas because they have tore them up so bad nothing else can do them.
Well, and we have a problem even with some of the parks here where they'll put single track in, and then the four-wheelers will try it, and the UTVs will try to run the single track.
Ooh.
And then they get the people that cut the trails get kind of ugly with the UTVers then.
I bet. I mean, when you're tearing ruts that are 4 foot deep.
Yeah. And especially, I know they tried doing it on, they put a beginner's, like a nice real beginner's, like flowing in grassland, like up the hill, down the hill, up a hill, down a hill to try to, like a nice little flow trail. It was maybe like 1.5 miles, 2 miles long. And someone tried running a UTV on that, and it was kind of rough, but it's self-policing. There's enough dirt bikers here still. It's not I would say even going out, it's probably 60 to 70% dirt bikes.
Oh, nice.
And then the rest is UTV, sport quad behind that there.
The area that I'm currently in right now, like I say, northern Wisconsin, and I'm just north of Route 8. That actually is a pretty big area for snowmobiling. So again, Eagle River is literally 45 minutes away from where I'm at. And you could literally drive from one state of Wisconsin to the other side of Wisconsin and never hit a public road because there's a dedicated snowmobile trail. Well, a lot of because we just talked about the weather and how we haven't had a whole lot of snow in the past few years, they have transformed those snowmobile trails to ATV trails. So we are getting a lot more people coming in with ATVs, a lot of tourism dollars coming in with that. But yeah, we are seeing a lot more of the side-by-sides coming in and a lot of people trailer them in for the weekend and, kind of going from one town to the next and using that up. But I haven't really actually done the side-by-sides myself, so I can't really talk about the experience of riding. But, of course, I did buy a new-to-me motorcycle about middle of last year. Picked up a 2019 Suzuki V-Strom 650 Adventure. Ooh. And kind of like RJ was talking about doing the back roads rides, things like that. Of course, we've got in Wisconsin the Trans-Wisconsin Adventure Trail. Going to try to do that this year. Down in southern Indiana, there's a place called Lawrence County Recreational Park, and they do an adventure ride over a weekend in April, so I'm hoping to do that. Of course, Norm's flyby week, he does both on-road and off-road riding, so hopefully I'll be taking that. And is the V-Strom off-road, quote-unquote, probably not, 100%, but it can do it if it's got the tires. But just about any motorcycle they say can do it. So, I mean, look at Steve. He's driving a Goldwing out on some of these back roads with those wicker baskets on the back. So it's possible to do. But, yeah, that's kind of like my secondary New Year's resolution is to hit more of the dirt trails and enjoy that a little bit more, kind of go back to the roots. It's kind of where I started from, snowmobiling and dirt biking on the farm, quote unquote. So kind of going back to that.
Hey, if you're going to hit Trans-Wisconsin Adventure Trail, I might join you for part of that one.
Yeah, one of the clubs that I belong to, they seem to do it like on a yearly basis.
Okay.
So, and every year that they did it, I didn't have the right bike for it, So most of my other motorcycles are more sport tours, VFR 800. I had the SV 650, so not really capable of doing off road per se, but the V-Stroms I think a little bit more up that alley.
I did Trans-Wisconsin on a DL1000, the old one.
The old, yeah.
Yeah, it'll do it. Just like you said, put the right tires on it. And tires now, oh my God. I'm not typically a Dunlop guy at all, but my GS we threw on the Trail Max Missions because everybody's raving about those tires. I finally found a Dunlop tire I don't hate. It actually does a decent job sticking on the road for what's essentially a compromise tire. And I took it on, like AMA does their District 16 ride up by Anago every year. And through like the Nicholas Forest and then up to Harrison Hills. So I took it up on that, and I'm rusty on my off-road skills because I haven't been using them the last several years. And I'm just clocking right away from some of these guys on way lighter dual sports. They're a great tire. And they're
how do they compare to like a TKC80?
TKC80 I think is a little more aggressive.
Okay.
This is more like I wanted something that does well on the road too. Because I majority of my riding is on the road. It's either commuting or it's sport touring. But I wanted to have that ability to say, hey, there's a fire road, let's go. And they do leave they're vague when you're leaning into a corner. Like, there's not a lot of feedback there, but they hold. I mean, I've put that thing right on the side of the tire, and she just grips. But I don't feel like I'm giving up a ton off-road with them. They get a little sketch in deeper sand, but I can't really say how much of that's the tire and how much of that's the 600-pound freaking GS. I don't know. Sand's always been my mortal enemy, but I mean, it did decent on some wet trails and in some mud. It does great on anything dry. So, I mean, I was cooking through Harrison Hills, and that's got some elevation and some nice switchbacks, and I never felt unconfident. So those might be ones to look at. That or the Trail Max Raids if you want to go more aggressive, John. For that V-Strom.
Okay.
But is that a 17 front?
I think it's got a 19 on it, actually.
Okay, it's a 19.
And they are wire wheels. They're not the mag wheels. And I just kind of found this one as a fluke. It was a guy that picked up. There was actually two guys that had picked up identical bikes in the summer of, or in the fall of 2019, and they equipped them with crash guards and higher seats and higher handlebars and a couple of other things. The aluminum bash plate on the bottom, a single tail pack on top. And they were going to basically go cruise America in 2020. Well, obviously, when COVID hit and they weren't able to do that, kind of shut down the world. So they both kind of parked the bikes, and one guy sold his right away. The other guy, I'm still going to ride it. But after about 3 or 4 years sitting in the corner of the garage, it didn't get much play. So I picked this 2019 bike up with less than 1,000 miles on it for like $6,000, and had probably $3,000 or $4,000 worth of accessories already on it that I was going to do anyway. So I'm like, I can't walk away from this. This is too good. So yeah, I put on already about 1,000 over the course that I've had it. And like I say, hopefully I'm going to be using it a whole lot more this year. So yeah. But right now,
my buddy Dan's in the chat giving me crap about my first excursion with the GS off-road after I picked it up. I took it out to what essentially turned into being in one of those ATV, UTV intensive areas and sunk that thing into a massive mud puddle and actually ended up tearing my pectoral muscle. He goes, "Successful ride, huh?" It's like, my skill failure is not the fault of the bike, okay? But yeah,
there's always that possible fallen injury that in the back of your mind you always kind of you don't want to go there, but it is it's an obvious trade of the activity that we're doing. That's the risk you take.
He couldn't have fallen off that bike if he tried. The jugs were acting as outriggers. It was sunk that far.
Oh,
keep it tight.
Dan is asking me to show the picture. I'll have to show the picture. Where did I put the picture? Talk amongst yourselves for a second. I have to find it.
So my next resolution is to ride one of the tracks that I haven't ridden yet, to try to get out somewhere new that I haven't been. And there's a couple left around the area that I could get to in a pretty quick manner. But
have you ever heard of a guy called Teapot One?
I love Teapot. Bruce for the win. Everybody needs to be smart.
If you don't know who Bruce is, he took about 10 years ago or so, took an around the world trip on what was it, a GSXR 750, I think, or 1,000.
1,000.
Yeah, basically travel around the world and visiting pretty much just about every racetrack he could, and got a chance to ride that racetrack, and so he did that probably for about a year and a half or so, visiting all these racetracks. Pretty interesting fellow as he was.
I will have to look him up.
I hear that he might have done an around the world journey or something. It's a running joke with for anybody who watches his channel or follows him through the podcasts. Yeah, they're always giving him stuff. I found it. Oh, hold on. Now we can screen share it. Present. Share
Gorąco. 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 Gorąco.
That was my first off-road excursion on the GS.
For those of you that are listening on Spotify or don't have the ability to see a picture, imagine a BMW GS trying to become a mud submarine.
Yeah.
and that would pretty much be it.
I should add, this is after I tried to wiggle it out. It was actually deeper than that. There was a point where the tailpipe was submerged. Yeah, she was in there. This required a sister and a brother-in-law with a pretty good-sized ATV and a winch, and a whole lot of laughing. For the record, they still haven't let me live that down.
And either have we.
No. So
years ago, I was teaching an MSF class myself, and had a student go astray, and just to the side of the range was a retention pond that had just rained for almost a week, and yeah, they went off the side of the range and did one of those Dukes of Hazzard jumps into the retention pond and stuck the front wheel axle deep. So now it's like, how do we get rid of this? How do we get this thing out? So I ended up running down to the local fire department to see if they had, the knee-high waders, so I can use those. And so the fire chief just happened to be.
Oh man, that had to be just a mess getting in there. But
I think we might have. I think we lost John.
Oh no. However, just so I can redeem myself slightly, I can confirm it does actually successfully go off-road. That was up at the Nicolet National Forest and Harrison Hills ride. So, plot twist, the guy on the one next to me, that was a 2-week-old bike. And he was on the OEM tires. That poor guy dropped that thing, I bet you 24 times.
Oof. Dan had asked in the chat what tracks I've been on. So far, I've done Pocono, New York Safety Track, New Jersey Motorsports Park, and VIR down in Virginia. I would say my favorite so far has been New Jersey. That track is pretty nice, and it's been really nice after they repaved it last year.
John said he forgot to plug in his tablet and it just ran out of juice, so he's going to throw some charge at it and come back in.
Okay.
All right, so I guess my next, my actually kind of aligns with you and John's too, is I want to get out and do more adventure rides. There's a school up here. It's run by a fellow rider coach of ours up here, Jason Herheim. It's called RideMSTA. He does the adventure bike schools. He's actually got a 101, 201, or 101, 201, and 301 class. So I'm gonna jump in and take some of his stuff this year, and I actually want to get that GS out. I was serious. If John wants to do the Trans-Wisconsin Adventure Trail, I want to ride at least part of it this year.
Yeah, I would love. I don't have the bike right now to do any kind of adventure riding, but I'm looking to get something more dual sporty to be able to do a little bit more of it.
I thought you had a dual sport.
I have a plated 2-stroke.
I mean, is it wrong if it works?
Its electrical system is literally a Milwaukee M12 battery that works on total loss. So,
I mean, that's pretty impressive, to be honest.
So it's a dirt bike that has lights and a license plate that I could run a short distance between trails. But I mean, I think I get 60 miles out of it.
Oh man,
out of the tank, 60 to 70 miles, and it's pre-mix, and to get the motor to run the way you need it, you're supposed to be running high, like 94, 93 fuel, which you can't get non-ethanol here.
I mean,
so
it's also a KTM, which means that you need to sacrifice a goat or something just to get it to start. And that
the Electron for the win.
Oh,
and it's kickstart only.
Oof. Dan does make a good point. You should come up and play at the track up here.
Yeah, up at Road America.
Yes.
Yeah, I'd love to get there at some point. For us out here, Pit Race they actually run some of our advanced rider courses out there on the big track.
Ooh.
So that's actually a nice free one to get to if you're from Pennsylvania. The total control courses, and then Summit Point isn't that far either, and that looked like a good one. I also I'd really like to. There's a couple of kart tracks around. There's a couple organizations that run mini moto kart track days. I'm looking at getting a set of supermoto wheels for her KLX 140, and some of them even rent, like for events, they'll rent bikes.
Yeah, speaking of mini motos, I want to get the. So, anybody who hasn't followed me on the Wisco Moto side, me, Dan, and Tim, we kind of started a mini MotoGP up here, involving 3 Mototech 49cc pocket rockets. It is hilarious and fun and stupid. We were doing it in parking lots. I want to try to get us on a go-kart track this year. And then you can. We'd like some more people. So like MototechUSA.com. It's the Phantom 49cc. You'll look like a complete doofus on it, but you will never have that much fun at that speed. Come join us. John's back.
Yes, I am. Sorry about that, guys. Ran out of battery power on my little laptop there, so on my secondary machine, my cell phone.
If it works, is it wrong?
It's we're together again, so that's all that matters.
Yeah, now you gotta finish your story.
Okay, so where did I leave off at? Where did I get cut off at?
I don't remember.
So I was saying that the front of this particular 250 Rebel was axle deep in mud.
Oh yeah, you were the winners.
Yeah. So I'm like, myself and the other rider coach were, how the heck are we going to get this bike out of here? And so I ended up going to the local fire department to borrow some of their equipment. Maybe like some kind of a rope or something, or a chain, some knee-high waders, and well, the fire chief just happened to be in the firehouse that particular day, and he's like, you know what? We actually just got a wrench on the front of our engine. He's like, we can probably use that to haul your bike out. Okay. So
nice.
Yeah, they came over with their we'll call it a training exercise. So they came over, the whole fire department came over and helped us pull this, stuck motorcycle out of the retention pond.
Oh,
I was literally like full of water. And the next day I ended up buying them a pizza for their efforts, and everybody was happy.
How bad was the bike?
It was, like I said, it was just, muddy from half the tire was just mud. It was just caked on mud. So thankfully they had the fire truck there. They just washed it off with the hose, and all was good in about 10 minutes.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, because we were like in a real remote area. There was nothing for miles. Porta potty. That was the extent of our luxuries at this particular site.
Oh,
no
man.
vending machines, nothing. Electricity. We had a portable generator that we would use to put on the lights and AC or the heating and cooling during the winter or the colder or warmer months, but that was it. That was the extent of our luxuries there.
Oh man!
So,
interestingly enough, the site I was teaching at is at the county fire training site.
Oh man!
And this was actually the second time it happened. The first time it happened, whoever the instructor was, for like the gag gift at the end of the year for the awards banquet, they brought her a life preserver.
Oh no!
I wasn't lucky enough to get that one.
Yeah, they moved our primary range. Used to be at the back of our tech college, but they put a new building up back there. They moved our range to the front corner now, and it's in the hill. So it's a tiered parking lot, and our range is on the top one. And I'm wondering how that's going to play out, because it was like you would go up. There's a hill road up each side. And the range is going to be at the top. But then the drop off, it's just a curb, rocks, and about 5 feet of a drop. It's like, I'm hoping they're going to put some retention up there. I mean, we got a 40-foot runoff in Wisconsin. So, like, MSF standards 20, we have to have 40.
Yeah.
But
yeah, typically a lot of the sites that we have in that we have in Illinois are 20 feet.
Yeah,
And that's actually another resolution that I have is I haven't really taught in a couple of years, so hopefully this year I'll return to coaching as well. So
Well, you guys had a whole issue with your program and stuff down there.
yeah, half like two-thirds of the state kind of went into a hiatus. Basically, what it was is an insurance premium issue, and the premium was just too high for the program to sustain. So they decided to mothball everything for a couple of years and then try to revisit and see if a new insurance provider would pop up and reissue a new policy for us. So I guess that has happened. A portion of the state has kind of resumed training again, but not the area that I'm in. So that they're talking possibly later this year or possibly in 2026.
Are you guys still holding on to MSF down there, or did you guys?
Yeah, we teach the MSF curriculum. I am also certified in Indiana as well, and then half the state uses an MSF curriculum. Half the state uses a self-developed program. It's kind of based off the Team Oregon Idaho program.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, kind of an offshoot of that.
Then RJ gets to play with Total Control.
Yeah.
Pennsylvania's
interesting in itself. All of our programs are free.
Yes, Illinois I shouldn't say all of them, but any of the state-run programs were basically was a free class. You had to put a deposit of $20 down to hold your spot. At the end of the class, if you wanted it back, you could. If you wanted to donate it, you could. Now, there are some Harley classes where if you take the class, those ones are paid classes. And then after the class, you also have to take a test by a third-party inspector.
Even for the state-run ones?
For this, not for the state run. For the state run, if you took an MSF class and you passed that class, then you got a certification that basically you went to the DMV and all you had to show them was that proof of passing, basically, and they stamped you with an M class.
See, we all the instructors that teach out of the state program in Pennsylvania are driver's license examiners as well. Then, so once we signed a permit, that permit's a license.
Yeah,
that's how it is too. Once we've administered the exam at the end of the class,
yes,
you get a license waiver and you're done.
And then like I said, everything here is free. That's what they use the Class M license fee for. That's for everybody's when you renew your license, and everything from like the basic rider courses to the intermediate to the advanced, and then they run two sets of advanced on track courses that they do, 2 at Pocono and 2 at Pit Race every year for 2 days, and it's all free.
I actually used you as an example at my PDW because of that yesterday. Because we were talking about issues with getting students into further training, because it's hard enough getting them into BRCs in the state because, I mean, let's be honest, we're the state of the brothers. But the advanced training was the one they're really trying to push. And I brought that up. It's like, one of my co-hosts, they're over in Pennsylvania. They just offer it and they pay for it with the licensing fees.
Yeah. Now, we do have a lot of problems with no-shows.
Yeah, we in both Illinois and Indiana with the advanced or the experienced class, depending on when you took it, it was a 50-50 crapshoot basically. If it was a nice day, a lot of the riders would not show up because, hey, I'd rather go to a poker run with my buddies or take a day ride with my buddies. Or if it was raining, I don't want to get my bike dirty and wet and possibly fall with it, so they wouldn't show up. So and if we didn't have at least 6 people in the class, we couldn't run the class. So a lot of times 5 people would show up and sorry guys. So
you know, we can run with as few in the class as show up, but she did actually bring up our state WMSP director brought up that issue with Illinois because she was familiar with it and the no shows and things like that, and she brought up the idea of doing the deposit. You know, have the students do a deposit
and still, even with the deposit, they would, because it was only $20. So, you know,
we were looking at like 50, 60.
Yeah.
You know, it's got to be enough to really make them feel it. Like $20, you can piddle away $20 at McDonald's these days.
Right, exactly.
You know, make the deposit $100, and you know if they complete the class, they get it back.
Yeah. So then, in essence, they got some quote unquote skin in the game.
Right.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's especially with if they're gonna do any of the advanced riding or the track day stuff like Pennsylvania. You know, you got to leave enough of a deposit out there to make it sting if they give it up. But with the understanding that, hey, if I show up and I do this, then I get it back. You know, makes sense to me. But that's actually part of my my final resolution is I want to certify in a few more of the more advanced disciplines that we're trying to start up. I know Rider Skills Lab is a big thing for MSF right now, and I'm waiting for them to open up the certifications for that. Because right now I do BRC and BRC2, and then I want to do the adventure bike cert this year because we are potentially going to start offering the adventure bike training course. I don't know. We'll see if that happens for sure or not, but I do want to do the cert for it anyway. And the CRC, if it actually becomes a consistent thing where they'll certify us in it, I want to do that. Circuit rider course. Go figure, the X-Track guy wants to do a circuit rider course. But that's all my resolutions. You guys got anything else?
Ride more. That's all I can say. Ride more. Wear that rubber off. Keep it on the ground, but wear it off.
Spend some more time riding with my MSTA crew.
There you go.
Yeah, we want to try to get more rides run in our state too. We'd done a couple shorter ones, get a couple more bigger rides going, do a little bit more outreach.
I can tell you if some of my Wisconsin peoples are watching this, or even some of the Illinois, Iowa, I need to get with Mr. John here because I want to do. Last year I did some ride to eats, but they were usually either in the driftless region or they were kind of up this way. I want to do some around like Holy Hill, southeastern Wisconsin, closer to Chicago.
Yeah, it's a nice area. They're nice riding down there.
Yeah, and that's close enough that like the Chicago crew can make it up here for it. There's a bunch
exactly. Yeah, you know, the Slimy Crud Run is a pretty equidistant ride for both of us. So,
yep.
You know, that one's of course first Sunday in May and first Sunday in October. So either the spring or the fall or both. You can do either.
That is one of my goals to get out to that at some point.
That's a pretty fun run because as Peter Egan from Cycle World kind of quoted it, it's literally a rolling motorcycle museum because it's motorcycles that you don't typically see on a daily basis. It's the motorcycles that people have kind of stuffed in their garage or underneath the covers or, you know, in their office building, you know, on display. And that's the one that they'll usually ride out there and starts in one location, ends in another. And how you get from point A to point B is up to you. And yeah, you'd be literally riding along, all of a sudden do a double take. What the heck was that? You know, going in the other direction and holy cow. And then you get to the end location. I just saw that on the road. Of course, that was me, you know, riding it. So yeah, that's the one you want to bring your specialty bikes out for.
First time I ever saw a Norton was at that event. And then that same weekend at that same event, I saw the first time I ever saw a Vincent Black Shadow in person.
Yeah, you'll see a lot of exclusive bikes out there. It's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it is. It's gotten a little bit heavy on the Harley contingency the last few years. Not so much May. I mean, it's Wisconsin. They still have it, but the fall one gets really bad. And I hate to say it, but I think they're kind of starting to run off some of the really cool ones. But you still get some wild machines out there. Last May,
Definitely.
last May we were out there and saw some beautiful bikes. I mean, vintage Ducatis, vintage Nortons, cafe racers for days. Like, there's some really cool custom cafe racers that show up to that.
Yeah, I'm not saying that my VFR is vintage or anything like that, but it will be 25 years old this year. So, and I think my SB650 is also, because I've got the first generation as well. So
man.
That one's kind of pushing 25 years now too. So I don't know, does that fall under like antique status now?
Yeah, it kind of does.
Yeah. So, and again, you don't see those very often in like stock form. They've been modified, molested, put away wet, as they say.
Oh, they were track. They were club racers for days.
I say most of them that are still running were probably raced for quite a while.
Yep. Yeah. Okay, I have to ask, what year's your VFR?
My VFR is a 2000, so it's the yellow version.
Nice.
Yeah. And I bought that.
Go ahead.
I said I bought that off a pilot that was based out of Illinois, but he was moving down to Florida. So he had like one of each generation. This particular one, the other ones that he had were all of the red variant. Yep. This particular one was yellow, and he's like, some guy bought the other red variants from him and kind of passed on this yellow one. So, and again, it was just such a sweet deal. I couldn't pass it up, and I've always wanted one. So this was the one to have, and I've put on probably about 50,000 on this particular bike with, other than tires, brake pads, and oil changes. That's it.
I can't.
So,
it mustn't.
Yeah.
It mustn't get too sunny up there because, I mean, with the amount of time that the yellow one's been out, it should have turned red by now.
I think I did actually buy a set of like red bodywork that had been, had contact with the ground, so it wasn't in perfect shape. But I was actually going to put it on at one point, but then I'm like, no, this is too nice. So, and this is just, it stands out more. You see your bike in the middle of a parking lot a lot more than the red ones.
Yeah.
So
Dude, the yellow ones look good. The only thing I think looks better to them was the tricolor.
Oh, the red, white, and blue, the anniversary.
Blue, yeah.
I'm a VFR fanatic, just FYI, and that 07 anniversary edition, that's my favorite. I will find another one. I will. I don't know. I gotta. One of these days we need to run a poll on MSTA. I want to know just how many MSTA members have owned VFRs, because I would bet you it's at least 75% of us.
I was going to say that was a very popular bike back when the organization was called Honda Sport Touring Association. I think everybody and their brother had a VFR at one point, and again, it didn't matter what generation. They just fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, whatever. So.
See, and I go back and forth between fifth and sixth, because fifth still has the gear-driven cams, and then the sixth gen has that cool body style with the undertail exhaust. So it's like
double exhaust, yeah. Oh. I have seen a version of the fifth gen that I have that someone had made a dual exhaust that kind of like the 916 version. It's almost what it looked like. I saw it, on a couple of bikes, but those things are like unobtainium now. You cannot find them anywhere. You might be able to find them on eBay, but they're pretty pricey when they do pop up.
Yeah, there was a company, IXIL. They were doing that for a bunch of different bikes, and I'm thinking they're the ones that them and Tosei did them for a while too. But yeah, like IXIL did them for the Z1000s. They did them for some of the leader bikes. These really cool undertail exhausts.
I want to say this one was called like like a wolf pack or something, but it was nice because it kind of like the pipe ran up and over the single-sided swing arm, so it exposed the rear wheel, and then it came up underneath the seat, and like I say, it was a dual exhaust.
So there was a
there-
company out of Europe called Wolf that was doing them, and they were the
Yeah,
first ones
yeah.
to do the exhaust for the.
There's a
the
couple of
six
YouTube
gens.
videos. If you look online, you can find a couple of YouTube videos with people that had modified it. Doing the walk around with the engine running. Sounds
yeah.
sweet. Yeah.
That is one of the best
So-
sounding engines ever. Just
Yeah.
so good.
Yeah. So sewing machine smooth. It's just like a
Yep.
freight train. It just keeps pulling.
Yep.
So.
And that VFR growl, man.
Uh huh.
Whoop.
Yeah.
So speaking of exhaust and all kinds of fun stuff, what'd you guys do to your bikes over the winter?
Put it on a trip charger.
Same here. I have 2 carburetors sitting up in the shed that need to be rebuilt, and I haven't gotten there yet.
No mods planned for the year?
No.
Wow. Isn't winter supposed to be mod season? Sparkle season?
Yeah, like I say, the ones that the V-Strom that I just picked up's got pretty much what I want on it, so there's not much I need to do to it. Yeah, I probably will. I'm gonna try to see if I can maybe locate a set of extra wheels that I can just throw the knobbies on, and that way I can, rather than spooning them on every time, just having 2 sets of wheels and either the on-road or the off-road, depending on where I go.
I thought about doing that with my GS, and then I realized that trying to find even used wheels for this thing is so expensive. I might as well just buy a whole other sport touring bike.
Yeah, I typically do that to a lot of the, I'll just go to Craigslist or eBay or Facebook Marketplace, pick up a second set for like $50 usually, like an extra rim or whatever, and like I say, then that way too, if I need a set of tires, I've always got a backup set sitting in the garage that I can just literally half hour put them on, and I got a new set of tires, and then the other ones can go into the shop whenever. So bike's not down for very long because of that.
Yeah, I think I might actually buy the tire changer again this year. I used to have one, and then we moved and did all kinds of stuff, and I don't know. I think Nomar might see some of my money this year.
Yeah, I'm looking to get I have an older CB350 cafe racer that one of the carbs is starting to act up on me. It's starting to float sticks, and so gonna rebuild that and get everything running and probably sell it in the spring.
Hey,
get some time for some.
Paging Mr. Williams. Mr. Williams, did you hear this? That would be a very fun small track bike. Just saying. He's actually got a pretty stonking good track bike. He's got an SV1000. He just had the front forks done by Jason Farrell. And it's pretty well sorted. But, every once in a while he gets this gleam in his eye for a classic bike. And he's a sucker for old CBs.
I'm trying to rid myself of carburetors one bike at a time.
Yes. I don't know. There is one carbureted bike I want. Dan says, "Heard it, you evil." Yeah. I actually want to try to find an old ZX11, like the early '90s ZX11.
Were they the green, white, and?
I would actually.
Oh no, I'm thinking of something else.
If I can find that, it's like a dark purple. One of the guys at work actually has one, and he was showing me pictures. It's one of our new guys, and his dad bought it new. This bike has 6,000 miles on it. They will not part with it, but I forgot just how pretty these things are.
I was thinking of ZRX.
Oh yeah, you're thinking of the 11 and 12.
The ZRX.
Yeah, those are cool as hell. Yeah, those are stonking. Same motor.
Yeah.
But
yeah, that's one of the few carbureted bikes that I think the ZRX would be one that I might go for. It's also probably one of the few bikes that I like that have a square headlight.
Yeah. No,
that's about the only one that made that look good.
The ZRXs are fun. I also wouldn't mind picking up a Buell X1 Lightning or S1 Lightning. I'm a sucker for Buells, not the water cooled ones. They're cool, but I'm a sucker for the XBs and older. And luckily, so is my wife. So I think I might try to.
Yeah,
But that's one carburetor. If you get the carbureted version, it's kind of hard to screw that up.
I'm either looking for a WR250 or one of the KTM 350s. Leaning towards the KTM 350 because I have a set of Supermoto wheels that'll already fit it. So, because it's the same hub spacing and all as my 2-stroke. So,
that'll be a fun. I'm banned from ever owning
yeah.
Supermoto. I can't behave. But yeah, I wouldn't mind picking up a ZX11. I've been peeking at them online, but I gotta buy dirt bikes first because I have a daughter that needs an upgrade. I started a thing and now it's gonna cost me. I did take her and get all new gear for her birthday though. So
I'm debating on taking my nephew with me to Moto America when they race down in New Jersey this year, because the last time I took him to a dirt bike thing, he ended up buying a KX65 about a week later, and there was a motocross track in my brother's yard. So
nice.
I can only imagine what taking him to see road racing is going to do.
Oh, that's going to be great.
Set of race leathers and some slicks for the KX.
Nice. Yeah, as far as my bikes go, I'm trying to put I want to put aux lights on mine just because I do end up riding at night a lot. And as good as the BMW lighting system is, it needs more because deer suck. And then I really should finally get around to installing the heated grips on my wife's bike that I've had sitting in my toolbox since July. I think she's a little annoyed. But that's our winter plans anyway. So, but
I'm actually going to be heading back toward Milwaukee on Tuesday afternoon. Triumph has a national tour going on right now, the Icons Tour. So I don't know what they're going to be introducing at this particular event, but they're kind of all over the place. Indianapolis, I want to say maybe Minnesota. They're going to be up there. Wisconsin. They're bypassing Illinois. They're not going to be stopping in Chicago, unfortunately. But one of the bikes that I'm actually interested in from Triumph is like the 400 Scrambler.
Oh yeah,
that kind of might fit my dual sport category as well. So that's another bike on the quote unquote the short list. So
from what I've seen about that thing, it's super light.
One of our Pennsylvania members has one, and he's had it, I think, most of the riding season this year, and he seemed to enjoy it. Yeah. And he put a good bit of miles on it.
I haven't heard that, and there's a 400 street bike they did too, and I've heard nothing but good about both of them. So I don't know. There's a Triumph dealer in Reedsburg, and Tiff wants to go demo the 765 Street Triple. I think I might demo those while I'm down there, just because I'm curious.
They also just came out with a Tiger 800 Sport, which is 17-inch front. That is the only thing that I dislike about my Tiger, is that it's a 19-inch front and I can't get sporty tires for it.
So you're thinking just dedicated sport touring bike?
Yep. I don't enjoy taking. I had off-roaded the Tiger before, and I don't enjoy the heavy, tall bike off-road. If I want to go off-road, I'd rather have a off-road bike.
Yeah, I like my GS off-road, but it is a handful if you get in anything tight. That's why I've been looking at a bunch of the dual sports, and I got to get something lighter and smaller, especially with Willow trying to do single track stuff now. So I thought about a KLR, and then I'm like, you know what? That's not exactly light. But I don't know. I honestly, you know what, the one that just drives me, like, every time I see it I want one, is that CRF 300 Rally. The Honda.
And I've heard really good things about that bike.
Yeah.
And a CRF 300 would be, or the KLX 300 would also be two that would be on my list.
Those are, yeah, I want to ride that KLX and check it out, but the CRF, that is, oh man, every time I see a video or an article about that thing, it's like, man, that looks so good.
They are heavy.
Yeah, but they're not KLR heavy.
Yeah, I mean, just because of the size of the fuel tank and
yeah,
all the extra fuel that's in it. The Great Oklahoma Motorcycle Tour, I'm not sure who that is, said they'll be catching up, but they could sure tell when the Packers don't make the playoffs. And I just want to let them know, us from Pennsylvania, he could thank us for that. We took care of that 2 weeks ago, or a week ago now. So go Birds.
Apparently, just FYI, guys, John's internet has officially frozen over. It has now dropped in temperature enough with the sun going down that Wi-Fi signals are in fact turning to crystal.
I thought fiber ran faster in the cold.
Everything stops at absolute zero. Light freezes.
Oh.
But it's been a fun episode.
Yeah.
I hope you guys had as much fun as we did, and we are back for the season. So we'll have to drag Tom and Jerry back in when they're done with their assignments. I mean, Jerry's off somewhere making himself a snow cone.
And I heard something about becoming a human popsicle.
Yeah, me too. Something about cold weather camping.
There are two words that I don't think go together.
Cold
like
and camping?
Cold weather. Yeah.
Yeah. More props to him. Dude is a machine as an overlander. So
yes.
We hope he's having a good time. Tom's traveling, so we have no idea where he's at. I'm pretty sure Tom is a secret agent of some kind, because he randomly goes on these weird, just odd trips that, very little info. We're on to you, Tom. CIA.
And we're looking to continue doing this the third Sunday of the month.
Third Sunday of every month at the same time. So we will be here.
The people have spoken. We're on a schedule now.
Yes. And as you saw tonight, it is highly possible that we will have occasional shifts in our cast here. I mean, we had John on tonight. I'm sure we'll bring him back some more too. And if you guys in the MSTA are interested in coming on with us once in a while, hit us up. We like having extra guests. So if you got something cool you want to come on and talk about, or you just want to come and ramble on with us about our topic of the evening, hit me up. So on that note, say goodbye, RJ.
Goodbye. Hopefully the weather's better where you are.
You missed the opportunity to say goodbye, RJ. Come on, man. You're out of practice. Good night, everybody.